Great conversation here on the air with Central Mason Fire and EMS. Have current Chief Mike Patti for not much longer, right?
Not much longer.
Deputy Chief Jeff Snyder as well. Good to see you guys. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Good, thank you.
Mike, why don't you introduce us to Jeff for those who may not know?
Jeff Snyder, who is our new Deputy Chief of Operations at Central Mason Fire. Jeff has been with the department for, over 30 years. So he's not new to the department, but he's new to the position of Deputy Chief of Operations.
Very cool, Jeff.
Thank you.
What was your start? How did you get your start in fire service?
I started as a volunteer in 1987, and my dad was in the fire service for me. He was a battalion chief at the time in Mason County Fire District 5, and he started in the Federal Way Fire Department. Anyhow, started in 1987 as a volunteer, hired as a career guy in 1992, and worked my way up from the bottom all the way to the top.
That's awesome.
Pretty much worked all the positions, lieutenant, captain, battalion chief, right on up to deputy chief.
What would you say that experience is able to help you understand the different positions as you are now the deputy chief and kind of looking ahead to the future?
I think there's two sides of it. One, because I grew up in this community, went to Shelton High School, raised my family in this community, love the Shelton area. I think that gives me investment in the community and so forth. And then the other side of it is, as growing up in the fire service, working all those positions, I have a really good understanding of what the job is for our individuals, each position, whether that it's a new recruit all the way up to our battalion chiefs and senior officers.
Finding a new chief, Mike, is not an easy prospect, and I know you made your announcement a month or two ago that this is happening, and I'm going to be leaving after a long time in the fire service. How long have you been around for?
It's been 50 years in the fire service total.
That's amazing. That's really cool.
It's a long time.
What are some of the things, how do you plan for this succession planning? I mean, what do you do here as you're sitting at your desk with just a few months to go with that wealth and breadth of knowledge? It's good that Jeff has a long tenure as well, so he kind of understands the periphery, I suppose. But when it comes to the chief's position, I mean, how do you even start that kind of a transition?
Well, you're right in the fact that Jeff was the right person for the job, in that he knows the fire service and more importantly knows our fire district, our agency inside and out very intimately. This job is more of knowing how to work with people. We have folks in our agency who are real good with finance. We have people who know certain aspects, the wildland side of it, the fire service apparatus maintenance side of it, the emergency medical side of it. So as I have done in the last 11 years that I've been with Central Mason, I've come to depend on those people to make sure that those aspects of the fire service are taken care of. And Jeff will have those same people to depend on. And Jeff will learn that there's other things that he can do. I'm really certain that he's going to take the department to the next level that we chose him to do that exact same thing for.
You have worked, like you said, for the last 11 years to push Central Mason farther and further than it's been in a long time, with the addition of quite a handful of fire trucks and the reconditioning of the ambulances that we've talked about over the years. And so as you leave the next stages of planning for Central Mason, what are some things, Jeff, that you know are coming down the pike that you want to make sure that you look into and enhance, and then some of the things that you've seen that you want to bring to the role?
Well, that's a good question. Obviously, continuing the process of our apparatus upgrades and so forth that Chief Patti and has been doing. We're really in the process of rebuilding our volunteer program, especially in the county. The fire service in general, that's been a challenge, and I see that as a challenge for us, but I'm excited in the future to be able to, we have some ideas, I think, to rebuild that process. like anything, budget is always an issue. Money is always an issue. It's an issue for everyone. It's an issue for us as well. And continuing to secure funding sources and to keep providing the service that we provide now and to continue to add services. Sure. Is where we're looking. Following in Chief Patti's footsteps is watching what he's been doing has really been helping me, for instance, to look at what we need to be doing. But I think staffing is an issue. Yeah. And continuing staffing. When I was hired in the early 90s, we ran 700 to 800 calls a year, and now we're running 9,000. We'll break 10,000 before too long. So that's going to be a challenge for us.
You guys have a levee, right, coming up here too. That's right. Another thing that, as you pass the torch a little bit, you have to get people up to speed on what all that means and everything.
Right. The city has an EMS levy coming up in August to maintain our 25 cents per thousand for EMS in the city, and then the fire district is lifting the lid, bringing it back up to the $1.49 per thousand in the county. So we have two separate audiences and two separate issues coming before the taxpayers.
Wow. Were you, Jeff, familiar with that side of things, or are you kind of getting a crash course on the levee situations?
Yeah, a crash course is a good word. I have some familiarity, but again, I spent most of my career in the operational side, out in the field. There's definitely a learning curve coming into the administrative side. And so, learning that has been a process and still will be a process. And I'm that's probably what, if I had to use the word scares me the most, sure. But at the same time, we have good people. Chief Patti already said this, our product is people. That's what I tell my shift and my crew now as I move into deputy chief's position. And that is our people for the fire district as well as the citizens we serve. And so, yeah, it's scary, but I'm up to it. I'll take it on.
Have you been able to boss Mike around a little bit here over these last couple of weeks? Tell him.
I'm gonna let him answer that.
I've given Jeff. I've delegated quite a bit of things to Jeff, and he's done remarkable for the 3 days so far that he's been the deputy.
That's funny. That's great. Mike. We've got a long relationship together here, 11 years that you've come by the station and talked about the benefits and the personnel at Central Mason Fire and EMS, and it's fully been on display for me over these years to know just how dedicated you've been to the fire service and the prevention and the whole profession overall, and knowing that you're leaving this with great staff on all sorts of levels is a comforting thing, I'm sure, for the citizens here. And to know that somebody with such a long time in the community, being a high climber himself, that Jeff is going to be able to, continue these great, and like you said, it is a people profession. You have to get out there and be with the folks and understand who they are, because you often, well, not often, I mean more times than not, you are there with them in their most direst and darkest times, whether it's on an EMS call or if you're responding to a fire. These folks are in the midst of tragedy, and to know the people that I've come to know at Central Mason over the years, the faces and the stories and those abilities to comfort those, I think is a huge boon to our community, and just a huge testament to your time, Mike, and then leading up to your time now, Jeff. It's just a really great service for the community of Central Mason Fire and EMS, which includes the city of Shelton now. So I appreciate your time here, Mike, for sure. And Jeff, I'm excited to see what you're able to do and move forward with in the next months and years to come. It's pretty cool.
I'm really excited for where the agency is going to be going. Jeff is inheriting a lot of spinning plates right now. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of exciting things, a lot of challenges. Jeff, and then when Jeff moves into the fire chief position in August, Greg Yates, who is currently one of our battalion chiefs, will be moving into the operations chief's position, and he too is a great resource to Central Mason. And I have no doubt that Jeff and Greg will take this agency to places that you can only imagine.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for the future of this agency.
Outgoing Chief Mike Patti till August, Deputy Chief now until August, Jeff Snyder here with us. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been wonderful.